Welcome to the Lummy Sports Show with Rhett. It's been a while.
A little bit.
813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-BUBBA. We're going to be talking, well, it's been 3 weeks.
Oh, longer than that.
Time flies. We're probably going to be just breaking down midweek or mid-year. It's a midweek show, mid-year.
Take a look at the state of football, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Since we're back, get the rust off. That's going to hit. There we go. I feel like Macho Man back here.
Hitting switches.
Little rusty.
Punching bitches.
I mean, it's been now, a month, so. But we can just swing right into things. And I think we're going to swing into college football, which I know you're not the biggest fan of college football.
No, I like college football.
Well, you don't follow it as in-depth as you do the NFL.
Not as, I'm not as emotionally invested in it, I would say. You know, I still have my teams. I'm still upset when they lose. But it's easier for me to put college football on as background noise. You know, like when the Bucks are on, they get my undivided attention for 4 hours or 3 hours.
When Florida's on, it's background noise.
Yeah, I get up and walk away on obvious passing downs.
Are there a lot of those with Florida? Or is it, do you guys get the ball a lot? Because it looked like the last game you guys played against Texas wasn't too good.
They are just bad at everything. I guess if we're going to open up the show with the Gators, welcome back, folks.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, very happy start here.
Deep dive into what's going on in Gainesville.
Well, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. You know, I kind of laid my heart out on the line before the season started, or right when we got the season started. And we were talking about our thoughts on the head coach situation, my thoughts on Billy Napier. I've been vocal that I don't like him. I think he's a loser. I don't think he is the guy for the job. And unfortunately, we've come to find out that under athletic director Strickland, the standard for Gator football has literally never been lower. I mean, a big, giant, micro-sized letter of support for Billy Napier and the bust-up job he's been doing with this god-awful football team.
And Florida, to be honest, a lot of the Florida schools are down. But the University of Florida, obviously me growing up on it, and Florida State, Florida's lost to Leicester.
Yeah.
Being that sexy SEC, I know they've been down, but it's still.
Well, they've been down for a little over a decade now, but it is one of those things where they were competitive to a point. You know, they were held to a higher standard. They were always looking for more. They were always playing for more. It felt like
Berto Perez, $20.
Felt like every year going into that year. Thank you, Berto.
Thank you, Berto.
Felt like every year going into that year, they at least had a decent chance to wind up competitive. And whether it was coaching miscues down the stretch because of a bad hire, or it was player issues, an inconsistent quarterback, they haven't been able to put it all together.
Well,
but now feels especially like rock bottom.
Well, it's kind of like what you said. It's to me, I saw Florida on, and when they get up against an SEC school, I'd want to turn it on. Like how I've been doing football with the house that I've been working on for 17 years now is my Saturdays are soccer walker, and then I shoot over to the other house 90% of the time, put in an earpiece, and just listen to College Game Day, and then I bet on the games, and then I'll find a game. Like I've been listening to Colorado. I've been listening to some of those games, and when
listen to the radio call or the TV call?
The TV. Yeah. I like lower spectrum down and just listen to it. And
you bring Walker with you? You put him to work out there?
No, he goes
Give him
home.
A hard hat?
No, he goes home with mom.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I should. But I see Florida, and I'm like, nah, there's no point to listen to it because they're just going to get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Florida State this year. Florida is just, I don't see any upside. Now, I know that they did talk on game day. Nick Saban said there's a lot of upside to Billy Napier and the recruiting. But
he's a Saban guy, so of course he's going to stick up for his boy.
Yeah, I know, but I was going to say is that almost shows the mentality of an older coach like Nick Saban, where he's like, yeah, they got these recruitments coming in. He's in his second year with these. That doesn't mean shit these days because they can leave next year. Like there's nothing holding them anymore.
Yeah, especially when you're a loser program.
Exactly.
Like you can't promise these kids greener pastures and then keep the same coach around that's holding them back. It doesn't work that way.
Just because that we believe in Billy Napier, we believe what what the kids are saying, or like what the prospects that Billy Napier has brought in. They're sophomores and they're like, oh, we're looking forward to junior. Yeah, maybe 5 years ago. That would have been like, man, Florida's got a pretty good team coming back. During the offseason, freaking Alabama, Tennessee, any school, Texas, could literally just go, okay, let's just, offer that guard for Florida maybe $2-3 million. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to do that, but it's not a guarantee now. I mean, Billy Napier may be looking at a whole different football team next year. I mean, look at Florida State. Florida State lost a lot of their guys. I mean, everyone's like, oh, they went undefeated. They have almost a whole new team. I went to USF basketball, and I know it's different, but last year, USF basketball, I remember talking to you, and I said, USF basketball, if they can keep this squad together.
Dude, it was something special last year.
And I said,
we had talked about it.
Everyone but one guy was going to come back, and it was like, man, they're going to be good. And we're like, well, you got the head coach coming back. This is before he died, obviously. But we already lost 4 out of the 5 starters. And I remember going, well, there goes that. Now we're going to have to start from fresh. And I went to the game yesterday, and it was like,
whole new team.
There's 2 guys, maybe 2 starters, or but from last year's team on the, that could happen anytime for football now. So for them to now. For Florida to believe in Napier because he did well in recruiting last year or the year before, and I know it. I'll give it that their quarterback play. I believe they're on their 3rd string quarterback, right?
Yeah. DJ Lagway got hurt, unfortunately, and that's a shame too because that kid's a stud. And there are certain things that a Napier offense can do that makes these quarterbacks look good, but there's a lot more these other head coaches can do to help these guys out and make them even better than they already are. I think, injuries are an unforeseen thing. But with Napier as a whole, I think as of this week, he has a 15-18 record as head coach of the Gators. That's like 2.5 seasons so far. They have made 1 bowl game in the 3 seasons he's been coach. They lost 30-3 to the Oregon Ducks in the 2022 Las Vegas Bowl. That was 2022. Every year, they are getting worse.
Yeah.
Every year, the organization is worse. And I don't understand. I don't know how many boosters are going and vying for this guy to come back. I don't understand how people are watching this team with their eyes every week, spending their hard-earned money to go to the games, and they're dealing with the same shit that referee Fred called in and told us about last year. Beginning of the season last year. And that was when my animosity towards Napier hit an all-time high. As soon as I heard from an NCAA official that this guy's sideline was one of the most organized he had ever seen in his entire career, that was a wrap for me. As soon as I heard that on that phone call, the ship had sailed on Napier for me. I hate this guy.
Well, if you look at Florida State, and I know it's being Florida centric, but I mean right now, you have Florida State, Florida that are just down. Florida State obviously went undefeated. Their coaching style didn't change, but their players did. So they fired their offensive and defensive coordinator last week, I believe. Did the coaching become that shitty? Or is it just the players leaving and coming in and coaches not knowing how to deal with it?
Well, it's funny because you could ask the same question in professional ball, not to cut you off, but with the Bucks. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but they're on a 4-game slide. The defense looks fucking awful, but Todd Bowles is a defensive coordinator who has won a Super Bowl with the Bucks before. So, is coaching getting worse? Are the players getting worse? Are these unforeseen injuries?
Yeah, I think
all of that accounts. All of that factors into it. All of that matters, but
even Tig Bitts, he said, he's like, give Florida he has their guy, give him some time. And listen, maybe it's true. Maybe
he's an LSU fan. Of course, he's going to fucking say, "Oh, they got their guy. Give him some time." Yeah, I'd love to see the Saints hang on to Dennis Allen every year before they fired him.
Well, look, LSU
hang on to that guy for 5-6 more years. He really had the Saints headed in a good direction.
LSU's got Brian Kelly. Okay. They got all they need in Brian Kelly. That guy is a flip-flopper if I've ever seen one. But if you're looking, I pulled up and I got the college football playoff rankings. I'm excited about the playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of fun teams to watch this year.
But the whole thing is that right now it looks like it's going to be the SEC versus the Big Ten. Oregon, Big Ten. Ohio State, Big Ten. Texas SEC, Big Ten. Big Ten. Big 12, SEC, independent, Notre Dame, whatever, ACC, SEC. It's going to be pretty much SEC versus Big Ten and sprinkled in with.
But with the big merger from last year and the size of these conferences now, do you expect anything different when you look at all the powerhouse schools? Who else is standing out to you representing a conference that's just not there?
But that's what I've tried to. I was trying to, tell Bubba this when he brings it up about Deion going to Florida State. Those sexy. And I'm like, Bubba. Well, ACC is a little different, but the sexy SEC school like a Florida, Colorado right now is number 17, right? Deion. I've listened to a lot of their games. I've watched some of their games. They have improved. They are one of those teams that I feel like I brought in some of the right cast of characters to go along. They're not the greatest team, but they're good. They play in the Big 12. The Big 12 is a good conference. It's not as good as the SEC and the Big 10.
Right.
So when he's like, it'd be better if you go to Florida. Right now, Colorado can just he could be at the Big 12 territory. He can run the table, almost like what's his name for the Oklahoma State coach. He wins his 8, 9, 10 games a year. Maybe every once in a while he gets at 11 wins. He keeps everyone happy. The boosters are happy for a while. You got to have that one or two kind of run, and I think it helps now with the playoffs. But right now, if Colorado, that team, in my opinion, went to the SEC or Big Ten, they're not ranked.
Right.
They're out of the rankings. They got probably 4 losses.
Well, let me ask you, too, and I guess this goes back to just conferences when you're looking at it this way. These are the top 25 teams before the championship games are played. So once you get these conference championships, how much weight does that hold in the grand scheme of the 12-team playoff here? Does a Big 12 champion jump a team with a better record that didn't win their conference? How does that work, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. They should.
Guaranteed conference winner, yeah.
I think conference championship is definitely enough to earn you a spot. That's the whole fucking point, right? And that was kind of Florida State's argument last year.
Yeah.
Winning a conference championship should be more than enough to solidify a spot in the playoffs. There's nothing more you can do to prove you're the best team in that conference.
Exactly, except for winning it, going undefeated. It's technically beating everyone on your schedule here. Here's the bracket right now. I was trying to pull it up. So here's what it would look like today. So it would be Oregon, Miami, BYU, and Texas would get a bye. Okay, that's because they're ACC conference, Big Ten Conference, SEC Conference, and Big 12 Conference. There's your conference leaders right there.
I like that run of games there for Ole Miss on that bracket in particular. Penn State first round, BYU second.
Oh, yeah, that actually would be pretty good for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, you see it like right there. There's your 4 conference champions. And then you got your Boise State's here, number 12. You know, you got your, I don't know what they call them, mid-major. What do they call them now? Not the Power 5, but let's just say the Pussy 5. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, Indiana, Alabama, Penn State, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I look at this. Yeah, you got your predictable Alabama. They're going to try to squeeze them in, but this is obviously now. And I would like to. Honestly, I think that would be a fun game to watch. Indiana, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a little bit of Indiana football, and they're a good team. I think they really have a good chance of beating Ohio State. Penn State was up on Ohio State. I was watching that game. And I was actually thinking it was going to be the year for Penn State to beat Ohio State, and maybe it's Indiana's year. You know, but I mean, if you look at this playoff ranking right here, Rhett, they got Ohio State 5,
yeah,
Penn State 6, and then Indiana, who's undefeated at number 7. So it's like, how are they seated? Because of the schedule strength,
right?
You know, but I guess it's.
I mean, realistically. I don't know. I guess you gotta see when the games are played, and that's why you do an expanded playoff.
Yeah.
But some of these matchups, you can definitely see it playing out more favorably for one side than the other. I mean, Ole Miss, again, I was just talking about how much I like that schedule for them because between Penn State and BYU, I like Ole Miss in both of those matchups there. I know BYU's number 3, but they're playing in they're seeded number 3. Yeah, so I'm curious how they hold on.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So there's their list on the bottom. You can see how those numbers, the seed and the CFP ranking, differ below. The 4 teams with byes are in bold.
Yeah, the top 4, and then these, and then they go Oregon is highest ranked conference champion, the Big Ten, and is seeded 1. Ohio State, it's at large behind, because they're seeded number 5. Texas is the second highest ranked conference champion, SEC. Third highest ranked conference champion, Big 12, and then ACC is the 4th highest ranked conference champion. So they go off the ranked. So right now, if Miami was undefeated and they were higher than BYU, then Miami would be where BYU was. They just go whoever won the conference and whatever seed they are. So even if, let's say, the ACC championship, Virginia beats Miami in the ACC championship, right? Virginia then would they would be the 4th. They would be the 4th, no matter what. Because they're the lowest ranked, if they're even ranked. But you know what I'm saying?
I see. A lot of moving parts, but I am putting it together here.
Yeah, and I think after you go through the first year, it would just get a lot easier to kind of see it and then visualize it a little bit easier. 813-90 Bubba, 813-90 BUBBA. Colorado, I think I know everyone says that we just lick Dion's shaft here.
7-2 is a vast improvement from where they were last year.
But Kansas State's a real team. I think that Nebraska team. I think early on, I said this that when I watched the North Dakota State game, I watched Nebraska. Their offensive linemen that they brought in, through the portals, wasn't getting used to each other. And they were getting used to each other. They weren't used to each other when they were playing. And I feel that you can see where the game, and they're playing a lot better. They're a more cohesive group. And I think that's really helped Colorado compared to last year when there was all that hype. And then they lost one game, and then everyone just, they kind of fell apart. They didn't have those guys. They didn't know what to expect. And Kansas State is to lose by 3 and then just go off. Texas Tech was a good team. Utah's going to be a good one. I can see Colorado running the table.
Yeah, so they've only got 3 games left. That's Utah, Kansas, and OK.
Yeah, and only one away in Kansas, and that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. If they lose one more, are they bounced out
of the conference?
Yeah. Because they're 5-1 in the conference. Iowa State's behind them. I don't know what Iowa State has left. I don't know what Kansas State has left.
Well,
but you've got a bunch of teams at 4-2 right behind them in the conference.
Yeah, if they lose one more, they would lose out to Kansas State.
Do they have the? Oh yeah, because they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, Iowa State, Cincinnati. I mean, they got Kansas State left. So, I mean, realistically, right now it may be BYU versus Colorado. If Colorado wins out, then they would be playing BYU.
You'd love to see that. I mean, that was kind of the hope, for a 12-team playoff. Obviously, more competitiveness towards the championship, but teams like Colorado potentially getting in there and surprising some people. I think it makes for, it kind of pads out Deion's resume a little bit.
Now, the sad thing is going to be, but I'm wondering how they would
gives them a fighting chance.
It gives them a fighting chance. Colorado has to win out. Obviously, you're never going to know what's going to happen, but they would obviously have to keep battling, and then I have a feeling that there's going to be a Deion who has a huge voice. If they don't make it and they go 10-2, I guess they have to win. If they lose the conference championship to BYU. So let's say they're 10-3. There's still a chance they make the playoffs.
Right.
It depends on how everyone above them goes. I mean, I guess if you don't win your conference, you're 10-3, you probably shouldn't be in it. I forgot that they played BYU for the conference championship.
I think there's a lot of teams up there in front of them that you're relying on losing one more game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a numbers game at that point.
I mean, you're looking right here. Just Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M.
Need it to fall into your favor.
And then don't forget SMU.
Don't forget SMU.
Which they got to probably win out. That's right. They're in the ACC.
Yeah, Boston College, Virginia, and California left. Pretty good win over Louisville this year. Hung 66 on TCU. I know they've been a punching bag here and there.
Yeah, they would have to win that championship. It might be SMU versus Miami.
That's a fun matchup because I don't trust Miami one bit, and I'm glad that
they got that loss.
Yeah, I am.
That's right. You're not a Miami fan at all.
Well, come on, dude. I mean,
813-90 Bubba, 813-90 BUBBA. I mean, I think, like Bubba's asked, is Oregon for real? I think Oregon's for real.
Yeah, I think they've been waiting on a season like this for a long time.
I mean,
they've been right there these last couple of years.
Let's see here. They got Wisconsin and Washington left. I think that I don't think that's going to be.
How's Washington playing this year?
I don't think they're 5-5.
Yeah.
So I think
good luck.
I think Oregon has an opportunity to run the table. It's going to come down to that.
Are they the last undefeated team?
No, we got Indiana is undefeated.
Thank you. Yeah. I was trying to figure out. I was looking at the list back there.
Yeah, Indiana is undefeated. I mean, Indiana gets by Ohio State. It's going to be an Indiana versus Oregon Big Ten championship.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be huge for Indiana. I mean, that would be a good matchup.
Maybe it might. My gut says it wouldn't be.
Why is that? You're not a believer in Indiana yet?
I gotta see it.
If Indiana comes out and,
I gotta see it.
And obviously puts it to Ohio State.
Because go back to Oregon's schedule. I mean, Indiana. They're also beating the shit out of a lot of these teams.
They got a high-powered offense.
Yeah, they do. They're putting up a lot of points. I'm just looking at what Oregon's doing, too. 24-14 Idaho. 37-34 came down to the wire with Boise State. They
limped out through Ohio State.
Right. But these last few weeks, they've really turned it on. 32-31 Ohio State, that was a tough game. But 35-0 Purdue. Illinois, top 25 team, 38-9, 38-17 against Michigan. I know Michigan's kind of a shell this year. 39-18 against Maryland. So we'll see. That could be a good matchup. But, I mean, it feels like that could be one of the games that's very one-sided if it makes it to the first round there.
6-4-1.
Championship game, excuse me.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brandon the Quad.
What's up, Brandon the Quad? How's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, I think Oregon's going to run the table because Iowa beat both those teams, so it's going to be a pretty easy win for Oregon.
Iowa beat who? Did they actually score points this year? Are they doing pretty good on their offense?
Yeah, they scored way more points.
They actually scored over 40 against Wisconsin, and over 40 against Washington.
Yeah, look up Iowa. See,
Holy shit.
Take a look at these final games this
I
year.
haven't been betting the under because we haven't done the sports show, so I haven't had Brandon in my ear, so I've been kind of staying away from Iowa's. Wow, 6-4.
Yeah, they
42.
40, 38, 31, 40, 20 and a loss, 40, 42.
Wow.
They're figuring it out.
Washington. Wow.
Yeah, so, well, we finally got a good offensive coordinator, but Oregon's going to dominate the Big Ten.
Are they? You don't think Indiana has a chance?
No.
Not in the Big Ten championship.
You're with Rhett? You're not a believer in the Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Hoosier power?
Nope. And you know what sport really sucks for the transfer portal is wrestling because
How?
then you don't know the guys only come in for one season to win the championship, and then you can't follow them very good.
Where the hell are they going?
Because they just come to schools for a year and that's it.
And then they go to a different school?
Or they graduate. Because Iowa's got like 5 seniors that just transferred in.
Oh. They're transferring in to win, and you're not. Okay, but Brandon, that's not a bad thing for your team. How do you think fucking Boise State down the street feels that loses their stud senior, and he wants to go win a championship at Iowa? I mean, that's where that one sucks.
Yeah, because we got 2 from Arizona State.
Do they get NIL? Oh, I know they get NILs, but do they? I guess not being in the Midwest,
it's not very big.
Like, do you see any Iowa wrestlers like on TV or at car dealerships or anything? Or are they just like walk?
Yeah, like Spencer Lee's got $1 million wrestling shoe deal.
Wrestling shoe? Oh, okay. Well, I could see that. So they're not they're not out there like washing the car for their Woody's Surf Shack or something, are they?
No, it's not. It's not like Caitlin Clark money.
Oh yeah. Well, of course. I couldn't tell you when I've seen wrestling on TV. So.
Big Ten Network.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to pay for that, but I'll rely on you for my wrestling updates.
Oh, speaking of that, do you know what Seth's size is? Like for a singlet? Because I'm going to bring one to Bart so he can wear it.
Is it going to be a new singlet, or are you going to bring him a used one?
Well, I'm gonna wash it first, but I'm gonna get it from Iowa.
Oh, okay. Shit, I don't know. How do those things fit?
There's medium and extra large.
I would go. Well, he's not a medium. I can tell you that. Yeah. So I would have to say extra large.
Okay.
Are you gonna bring the little ear protectors too?
Oh, the headgear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring the headgear.
Yeah, bring the whole outfit. That would look perfect. So.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon. Anything else?
Bring him a mouth guard?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, of course. Bring him a used mouth guard.
No, I don't think he would wear it.
Of course not, but still, get an autograph by Dan Campbell or Dan Simmons or whatever his name is.
Dan Gable?
Dan who?
Dan Gable.
Dan Gable.
Dan Gable.
Yeah.
Hey, I got the first name right. That's all that matters.
But the content house is going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Rhett and I will kind of dive into that on Friday, I think.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
What? Are you guys having an after show even though you got to leave early?
Yeah, we're going to do a quick one.
Yeah, on Friday we'll do a quick one. I don't know if we'll have Colton in here, but we'll do one.
Yeah. We'll at least get one in. All right, Brandon.
Well, have a good week.
You too, man.
You too, boss.
See ya.
Berto Perez is attacking me in chat. He says, what's wrong with Miami?
What's wrong with Miami?
There's nothing inherently wrong with the Miami Hurricanes. One, I just never trust them down the stretch. I don't ever think they're going to go undefeated, and I'm happy that I was proven right. Two,
it's not the 90s.
Two, I'm a Florida fan, and I think I'm really just a little bbit jealous and disappointed to see the Gators sink to the level that the Hurricanes have been for the last 20 years. So, it's going to be tough sledding for a little while. And I think I'm lashing out, taking it out on some of the other Florida teams. But we were talking about NIL and roster turnover and stuff. I mean, how do you feel about the Bulls next year? Kind of a tough shake this year.
Yeah, I know. Well, they've been without their star quarterback. for most of the year. And we went to Saturday's football game against Army and or Navy.
Navy. Yeah, they beat you
whatever.
so bad you forgot which one it was.
Yeah, they beat us. It was on Veterans Day. At least we lost to Navy. Our guys decided to just lay down and pretty much. It was like in Desert Storm. They just came right in and we just laid down and they rolled right over us. Man, that was. I'm so happy that I left this kid's birthday party and rushed to the game so we could watch them score 0 points and because we didn't stay for that 7 points that they got, but it was pretty disappointing because it's Archie, but our starter, I don't even know when he's coming back. It's just sad. I just want to become bowl eligible, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
Did it last year.
yeah, hopefully we can repeat it, but
I think the recruiting thing and everything that we had talked about with, building a roster, putting together a team that wants to stay together is tough. So we'll see how they navigate it. But I definitely think Golesh is back for another year at USF.
yeah, I think so
I think
too.
they like this guy. I think they definitely trust him and want to give him a longer leash.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I can see that. I think USF wants to, if they can, keep him here long term just to build a foundation, especially coming into the new stadium.
And then I think the thing that helps too is like he's not as hot of a target as he was coming off of last year. He's not going to be a guy that, I mean, maybe he does get a couple of offers. You have no idea, but I can imagine they feel better about his chances at staying here a little more long term now that they're not riding the high and the hype of, kind of the turnaround season he had when he really showed up. Expecting improvement this year, but yeah, losing your star quarterback and then just a couple of other unforeseen injuries. It's like, what are you supposed to do?
I don't see him getting any kind of even if I think he gets an offer from maybe like a smaller SEC school, which he probably won't now, but I think I can see USF maybe trying to match a salary, because obviously the person I thought was going to take over the Florida job, Lane Kiffin, is obviously not going to be doing that one. Because I thought it was going to be pretty much Napier was out, Ole Miss kind of not flounders, but they're typical Ole Miss, and Florida comes in and wants to bring in Lane Kiffin.
Man can dream, can he?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you woke up in a nightmare, buddy. You woke up from a nightmare. Oh no, you haven't woke up.
Yeah,
you're in a nightmare.
You said it right the first time.
Sure.
You had it.
Yeah, I corrected myself.
Yeah.
I had a Brandon for a minute. So
Heavy rotation.
yeah, heavy rotation. I couldn't let it go. 81390 Bubba graduating to the NFL. Whew. It's mid-season. Kind of depressing. I get a little depressed when I start thinking about how many games are left. Looking forward to end of February, March. Now no baseball is going to be here. Who knows what the fuck's going to go on with the Trop. It's $55 million, but that won't be done for
2 years.
2 years. So where are they going to play? So all right now we have obviously hockey, but that ticket's getting expensive. And we have football, and the Bucks are on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, they're really on a tear.
The good thing is, the bad thing is they lost to Atlanta, so they've definitely 100% lost that tiebreaker. They have a chance to win the conference. Their schedule's pretty easy. In my opinion, it's not easy, but it's very winnable down the stretch after
The bye week.
Yeah, but a close
I don't know if
loss
they
to
have
the
a chance to win the
49ers.
conference. I don't even know if they have a chance to win the division.
I think Atlanta still has a couple tough games.
I think Atlanta has definitely some tough games down the stretch.
The Commanders
and
are playing. The Bucks played the Commanders at the exact right time.
Yeah, they did.
And Atlanta's going to Washington.
Apparently, they played the Lions at the right time, too.
And the Vikings. Well, we didn't play the Vikings, but I'm saying Atlanta's got the Minnesota. I mean, they play the Broncos this week.
Yeah,
I mean,
Broncos
that's an
defense has really come on strong, and
Oh yeah, and I could see. I mean, Atlanta's going to lose to the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are absolute stallions. 225 Stallions. You like that?
Hey, good morning, guys. Jay from New Orleans.
Hey Jay, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing well. I disagree with Rhett, though. The Bucks absolutely have an opportunity to win the division. I mean, my Saints, as bucket as they are this year, took care of Atlanta last week. That left the door open for Tampa to slide in.
That's right. You tell 'em.
I mean, they are only 2 games behind now. What sucks is that Atlanta's going to have that tiebreaker if it really comes down to it. But, you know, the Saints, for some reason, as shitty as they are, they always play like it's the Super Bowl against Tampa. So I think they're going to take at least one of those games. And Todd Bowles, you never really know now if he's going to have these guys ready to play. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Carolina Panthers stole one from us. But I like their chances down the stretch to win some games. You know, if it's not the division, it's going to be tough because there's a lot of good teams in the NFC this year. I don't know if 9-8 is going to get you a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, good point. But I think if Atlanta shits the bed, you know, obviously the Saints or the Panthers aren't going to win the division.
No.
So, I mean, I think Tampa's got just as good a shot. Because I don't think Atlanta's got it in the tank to outlast everybody else the rest of the season.
No, look, the Tampa's coming off a 4-game losing streak off the bye. They go and play New York Giants. Okay, that's a hell of a game to come off. And then they go play Carolina, another hell of a game. I know Carolina's playing a little bit better, but I mean, I like the matchup with the Bucs. Then they play the Raiders. I like that matchup. I mean, the Chargers are going to be kind of difficult. The Cowboys are down, and then you got the Panthers and the Saints. Their hardest game right now, their hardest game on paper, I guess, is the Chargers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. I can see the Bucs going 6-1, 5-2.
I can see 5-2. Dallas is a crapshoot because are they probably going to start Trey Lance? I think. Maybe
Dallas is done.
Dallas is done. But I
mean, Jerry Jones is saying that Ezekiel Elliott has a lot of upside. I mean,
the thing about these shitty teams, the thing about less than mediocre teams in the NFL. Again, when they play the Bucs, and maybe I'm just superstitious about it at this point, but these teams always find a way to shock people against Tampa. Like it's, Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cowboys, and he'll play his best career game ever against Tampa. He'll look like Mitch Trubisky did that one time in 2018 on the Bears, throwing 6 touchdowns on it.
Hitting a pass off somebody and catching it himself. I mean, it should have been a pick. Yeah.
I think one of these games would be an upset, but 5-2 is definitely realistic down the stretch here. I think they're good enough.
Rush Cooper might be going.
Might be getting Mike Evans back on the other side of the bye week too. That's a big deal. Tristan Wirfs should only miss a couple of weeks, but they did a good job adjusting for Nick Bosa last week with Justin Skule, the left tackle. So we'll see. We shall see.
We'll see.
Hey, just remember you heard it here first, okay? And one more thing before I let you guys go. Can't wait to meet y'all this weekend. But it's kind of sad. My LSU Tigers are playing your Florida Gators early that week or that day, I believe, right? Saturday. I think it's a 2:30 game.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be able to watch it all together.
I'm real tore up about it. Trust me.
Well, I'm sure we'll find another good game to have on while we're all there. And like I said, can't wait to meet you guys, man.
Appreciate you, Jay.
Good, man.
Thank you, man.
I'll see you Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah. I do think one last thing just about the NFC South. I think there is a real chance for Atlanta to shit the bed down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, easily.
So that's where the Bucs could sneak in. But that tiebreaker, that's going to be the last little hurdle for them to get over here. Like, if they end up with the same division record, it's not going to matter. You drop both of those games to Atlanta, and if you drop either one to New Orleans or Carolina, it's going to be tough.
Speaking of the divisions, this is definitely a surprise division that just go down the divisions here. AFC East. Buffalo Bills leading the division 8-2. Dolphins 3-6. Obviously, without head case Tua, they definitely struggled. Not having a backup quarterback with limp arm Tua is not a good backup plan. The Jets And the Patriots. I mean, I was thinking that it was going to be the Bills, Dolphins. Who's going to be fighting to win the division? Who's going to be fighting to get that playoff spot for the wild card? And it's. I mean, I know Miami says they're. They just picked up someone.
The linebacker from Seattle.
Yeah, they say they're
which was a move the Bucs probably should have made.
Probably, but of course they're just sitting on their fucking thumb.
I'd like to apologize to the Buffalo Bills. I remember saying at the beginning of the year,
you said Josh Allen's done.
Well, I didn't say he was done. I said he wasn't. I said he wasn't going to have anybody to throw to. Khalil Shakir and whoever the fuck else they had on their depth chart headed into week 1. I did not think it was enough, and that team has proven me wrong every single week. Josh Allen playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. I mean, he's not leading the NFL in touchdowns like my man Baker Mayfield, but he has played damn well, all things considered. They go out, they get aggressive during the season. They make a move for a wide receiver. They get Amari Cooper. Thank you. He stepped right in with scoring touchdowns that first week with Buffalo, I believe. So they're set up to be a team that, you wouldn't think it looking at that roster, but they could be a team a lot of AFC teams don't want to see in that first round of the postseason. If they don't win the conference.
They do have a pretty difficult schedule. I'm looking at it now. They got the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be one hell of a game right there.
Yeah, Chiefs. That Niners defense. The Niners have been inconsistent this year, but they got a defense that if you let those pass rushers go wild, they're going to make it a long day.
Does Buffalo end that Chiefs streak?
It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's probably game of the week this week.
Yeah, 4:25 on CBS. 49ers, the Rams. You never know what you're getting the Rams in Detroit. I'm sure, Coach over there, I'm sure that you know how you're going to be able to play against Buffalo.
Yeah, man. It's a cross-conference game. We don't care too much about these AFC guys, but we know what the standard. Sorry, I ran out of air. We know what the.
All right, then they got the Patriots and the Jets and the Patriots again. So Buffalo, they got a good little rough spot there, but they ended twice against the Patriots, one against the Jets. Which, I mean, the Jets are just really disappointing this year. I know Bubba, Seth, I think everyone just hates Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
You don't know why,
and
you don't know why.
And I mean. But the Jets, do you think the Jets quit on Aaron Rodgers, or you think they're just they're trying too hard to win?
No, I think Brian made a good point when he said this the other day. I think Aaron Rodgers is an asshole, and he treats one guy a certain way, he treats another guy a different way, and I don't think he is enough of a winner to expect what he expects out of some of these guys. I think these guys just don't rally around him. The ultimate point is he's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to Tampa, won a Super Bowl his first season. Now every old washed-up quarterback thinks they can do that shit. I mean, Matt Stafford did it with the Rams, so that didn't exactly shut down any doubt that teams could go and win a Super Bowl that way, but Rodgers just doesn't have it. I don't know if it's the work ethic. I don't know if it's the shape that he keeps himself in. I don't know if it's his approach to the game. I don't know if it's because I don't know if he's back-to-back MVP at one point. Let's not pretend he's not one of the most athletic quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. But at some point, it only gets you so far. And the Jets are literally floundering here, but they have no choice. I think if he wants to come back next year, they have no choice but to account for him. He's going to take up, I think, like $40+ million of dead cap. More dead cap than Brady cost the Bucs on his way out for the Jets next year, regardless of if Aaron plays or not.
Yeah, he does that for the next 3 years, I think. But if I'm looking at it here just from this, do you think it's Aaron Rodgers 100%? Or do you think their defense just isn't playing that good this year?
No. I think there's some ineptitude with New York all around the board here. There's probably some roster moves they could have made that would have been a little more productive than bringing in Rodgers' boys, because all of them are having career years this year. But
yeah,
I think a majority of it is the tone set by their quarterback, because they have done nothing but baby and cater this guy since he showed up. Like, he was the savior of New York.
I'm looking at their schedule. They play the Colts next, which, I mean, the Colts have got their own.
Flacco and Rodgers for possibly the last time.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. Flacco just seems like he doesn't want to quit, which is fine. I mean, Flacco just keeps playing. He's a hell of a backup.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I would take Flacco.
He's the last of a dying breed of quarterback, man.
The old slow white guy?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just nice to see him out there. It's a name that I know.
Taking your boy Anthony Richardson. But then we go to the East. You got the Dolphins. I think they were my favorite to win the AFC East this year.
I think I had them towards the top too, but
I mean they're still hoping for a playoff push. It's going to be tough, but I mean I guess.
What does the AFC wild card look like? Because we talked about the NFC and how it's going to kind of be an uphill battle for a lot of these average teams looking to go on a run here. For the AFC, you've got all the big dogs. You've got Baltimore, you got Buffalo, you got KC. Behind that, you've got a couple of hungry teams that need to win some games down the stretch. I mean, Pittsburgh's playing really well, 7-2. Can't forget about them at the top of their division.
Russell Wilson. Denver got rid of him.
Yeah, shit. It's going to be a slog in the AFC too because you got LA at 6-3, the Houston Texans at 6-4,
Denver at 5-5.
Denver, the 7 seed at 5-5. So yeah,
does Joe Flacco squeak through? Did they squeak in the Colts? Does Joe Flacco do it again?
I think the Denver Broncos are on a better trajectory right now than the Colts are, and that's because the Colts don't want to admit that they fucked up taking Anthony Richardson.
No, I could have said that one. What's up, Berto?
Hey, guys. How you doing today, man? I miss you guys so much. You guys got a great point of view.
What's up, Berto?
But the Dolphins ain't going nowhere. They ain't even making the playoffs. The only thing Miami is going to be the Canes, and hopefully they get farther than the Dolphins.
No, the Dolphins are making a comeback.
Yeah.
Dolphins are going to go 11-6.
Dude, I love my team to death, but if they do, it'd be a miracle.
Yeah,
I'll run around the house with all my Dolphin gear on.
Listen, they got Tua back. He's a savior. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So if anyone can do it, Tua can do it.
Dude, I'd rather take Flacco.
Well,
to be honest with you.
I can't believe you don't believe in Tua.
What
I
hold
don't
on.
believe in Tua since day one.
Neil Malpa's here, $20. Go Pack, go.
Surprise. I was going to say, Berto, would you say that at the beginning of the year that you'd rather have Flacco over Tua?
No. Yes, I would have, because he would have gave Tyree a better chance to get the long ball, faster run, even Watto. I mean,
Listen, don't tell
Tua's
Brian
good.
that. You're a racist then. You're racist if you tell Brian that.
No, I'm just saying. Tua is good, but he is not, in my opinion, the Dolphin savior. They could do a lot better.
Seven's only been preaching that for 2 years.
Yep.
Somebody fucking jumped on my my bandwagon. It was pretty empty here for a while. Well, at least you're a Dolphins fan too. So at least I got a partner now. While I'm riding all alone in my little Tua sucks at throwing the long ball, but whatever. You know,
You used to see my family. Whenever we're playing, they were like, "Oh, look!" I'm like, "Dude, really? If he was that good, he would have had him in the lead last week, and then this week it would have been 2-0 with his coming back."
He's getting his fuzzies out, man. I've had many concussions. You just got to get your fuzzies out. He's working out the fuzzies.
Trust me, I understand that too. I've had concussions playing football, wrestling, and baseball, but come on, it's
I hope you didn't
the
get
time.
concussions in baseball. Barry, what were you doing in baseball to get some concussions, buddy?
Well, I wasn't paying attention when the
Oh.
pitcher was throwing the ball, and I put my head down real quick, and man, I'm glad I had my helmet on.
Oh shit. Well, we're glad you're here with us, buddy. So
How's the necklace, man?
it's awesome. Yeah, I wear it.
Cool.
Well, I was wearing it a lot more when the Bucks were kicking ass, but with that 4-game losing streak and the Dolphins winning one, it kind of goes around. So
Yeah, thank God for the Dolphins, I guess. Berto brought it up, but it was a tough weekend for the state of Florida last week. 1-11. All of our football teams across college and the NFL, 1-11 for the state of Florida last week, and the Miami Dolphins were the only ones to get the win.
We're still hungover from the election. We all are.
Well, actually, I couldn't take the credit for that, right? Lummy's wife put that on her Instagram, and I'm like, "Gosh, she's right." And I went and looked everything up.
As you can tell, I look
gotta
at
give
my
the
wife's
credit when
Instagram a
credit's
lot. Yeah, I didn't see that on hers.
Your son is cute, man.
I see him every day.
I know. Hey, I got 3 boys,
check out
and I
her
laugh my ass
Instagram.
off with them, man.
Yeah, I don't go on
I
Instagram
laugh
much,
so hard.
but
Yeah.
All right, Berto. I appreciate it, man.
All right, guys.
See you,
You
man.
have a good one. And
too.
like I said, have fun.
Thanks, man. You too. Talking now, we're going to the AFC North, and you know what? I was so happy. Last week's game. You know who I'm talking about. I don't know who doesn't really believe that the real Jameis would show up. Is Jameis going to blame his eyes again?
You've been waiting on this one.
Sure have. When I looked down, I went to the Bucs game, got done, watched, was going to the car, looking at the scores, and I'm like, it's 20-3. Okay, what's Jameis doing? Oh, 3 interceptions. Oh, big surprise.
I think there were 1 or 2 more that were dropped.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's, you know what? Good. Well, Cleveland, you're fucked. I mean, you're just absolutely fucked. I mean, I guess you got a chance against the Saints. The Steelers are probably going to just wipe your ass. You're fucked. You got Jameis,
That's their guy. Their head coach this week came out and cemented that Jameis Winston is their quarterback.
Well, yeah, they're stuck to him. What they else? I mean, I guess they don't really want to play the third stringer. I mean,
why not? He's only a second year. Hasn't played much. It's the Dorian Tompkins-Robinson guy.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you might as well just not get him hurt and just let Jameis go out there and throw
Take
as
the
many
abuse on a losing football team. I mean, 2-7. What left is there to play for, brother? The Bucs are 2 games away from that, so it's a scary thought.
Yeah, I know, but our schedule looks a lot. The Browns. I don't see the Browns with any upside.
No,
right? I don't see any upside with Jameis. Jameis is going to come out. He'll whether it's next week, the week after, he'll find some kind of magic. He'll throw 4 TDs, no picks, he'll probably have 1 pick. 5 others should have been picked off, but somehow the defensive backs love that guy and just drop it for him. And everyone be like, all right, here's the real Jameis, man. Here's the real Jameis. And then the next 2 games, he'll probably throw 3 picks, and they'll get blown out. So couldn't have happened to a better guy. All the luck to Jameis. Not really, but good luck with the Cleveland, and pretty much you're fucked in your division anyhow with the Baltimore. I mean, let's just be honest. Baltimore's got that them and the Steelers. I just don't see the firepower that the Steelers have. But Pittsburgh always bitches, man. I'd rather have Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I would, like you just said, the Bucs are close to, okay, yeah, and the Bucs are playing hell. I mean, they have a tough schedule, but every year, man, the Steelers are always there. And you're just looking at it going, who the fuck do they have? Who, you know what I mean? George Pickens?
George Pickens. I like George Pickens.
No, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like this.
It's not this high-powered offense. Well, Pittsburgh hasn't ever been this high-powered offense.
But that's what I'm saying.
Even with Big Ben towards the latter years, I've said it before, say it again, they were notoriously stinky on the offensive side of the ball. It was just not pleasant to watch. It was slow. It was methodical in a bad way. Would just take time off of the clock, but not really accomplish very much. They got a couple of guys that are injured and still need to step up, but go back up to the offense there in the wide receiver room. Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, who I think has been hurt.
Don't forget Mike Williams.
Buccaneers legend Scotty Miller. Yeah, Mike Williams coming in. That was their big trade move. So they addressed their roster, made some quiet trades at the deadline, and are still one of the more competitive teams in the AFC. Can you pull up their schedule here? I just want to see who they've beat so far.
Yeah, Steelers are it's kind of like what you always think of Pittsburgh, just hardworking, put your nose to the grind. You're not looking for star power.
They're quietly winning games.
Exactly.
So they had a nice little run to start the year. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Broncos, the Chargers. They beat the Broncos early in the year when they were still embarrassing. So lost to the Colts, which was surprising. Probably the Colts' biggest win of the year.
2 3-point games right there.
Yeah, you lose to the Cowboys, I think, on a game-losing field goal. And then Raiders, Jets, Giants, Commanders. That win over the Commanders was probably their most not dominant, but most.
This is another big game, man. CBS has got 2 really big games: Ravens, Steelers at 1,
and then Bills, Chiefs,
and Bills, Chiefs at 4:25.
I don't think I'm gonna be watching Fox at all on Sunday. Then Gonna be grilling all day.
I hate CBS too.
Yeah, I really do. I don't like their broadcast teams, or I prefer Fox. It's not that I don't like it. I just have a preference.
Then they go Browns. Bengals are a little beaten down, but Bengals
are going to be hungry. So those division games are going to be very, very fun to watch. I think that stretch of Bengals is going to be tougher than most would anticipate because the Bengals, they literally are the best, worst team this year. You've seen the year that Joe Burrow's had statistically in the offense for Cincinnati. They're putting up 500 yards a game and losing.
Yeah, well, that's typical Cincinnati with their defense. I mean, they did start out slow. They're 4-6 now. That Vegas is pretty much they're let's see, they're playing at home against Ravens, and I believe the Ravens are a 3-point favorite. That's not too bad. I mean, do you think Baltimore's offense shows any flaws in Pittsburgh, or you think this is going to be a grinded out division game that it normally is?
Yes. Yeah, I think it is a tougher game. It's always tough when you have a healthy TJ Watt too, and he's always going to do his thing. These division games are tough. I think Russ is going to have to ball. I think Russ and the offense are going to have to keep up to a certain degree.
You got 2 MVP candidates too, in Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I mean, 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Lamar.
Yeah, if Lamar wasn't playing as out of his mind as he is this year, then I would say Baker Mayfield's right up there with MVP candidates. But as we kind of talk about MVP candidates, man, a lot of good quarterback play this year. When you look around the league.
Yeah, but you got to look at Derrick Henry though too.
Yeah, he's a huge part of that offense.
You almost could look at it right now. This is 1-2 for MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Because
1-2.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You got above
no,
them.
you're right. We're not even to week 10 yet, or we are to week 10, and this guy's got double-digit touchdowns and 1,100 yards on 184 carries.
Lamar's
he's having an unreal
picks.
season.
Yeah, and he's got Lamar's was almost he's 1 game away from 3,000 yards. I mean, it is. It's pretty good, and it's not like the Ravens, are playing they're playing the Cleveland Browns every week. So, and then you come down to AFC South. Now Houston's been, and I know they lost their top 2 wide receivers, but they've been a little disappointing.
Yeah,
I mean, I think C.J. Stroud is.
I think it was just that collapse last week that was tough to watch. They got stumped in that second half.
Yeah, the Lions never gave up. I mean, they did lose to the Jets though. I mean, that's when people started believing again in Aaron Rodgers.
Doused ourselves in lighter fluid at halftime, man. Went out on the field and started a fucking fire.
Yeah.
Houston didn't know how to handle us.
That's right. Fucking just 26-23. I went to bed thinking that the Lions had that thing, or the Houston had that thing taken care of.
Yeah, 23-7 headed into half, I believe.
But Houston plays Cowboys. Not looking good for the Cowboys. I think Houston bounces back. They got the Titans and the Jaguars. I mean, I think Houston's got that division. I don't see Joe Flacco and your boy Anthony Richardson leading. I know. Do you think he gets back in, Anthony Richardson, or you think they pretty much just said unless Joe Flacco gets hurt, we're done with him for the year?
I don't know, and I only say that because it's the Colts. The Colts will never come out and admit that they fucked up that pick already, but I feel like that is their thoughts on it. But at the same time,
he's only 22.
He's only 22. These franchises are asking these rookie quarterbacks to do a lot. He has not played that many games. I mean, he barely started double-digit games through college and high school. So this is a raw prospect. And, I mean, the Colts deserve it if they didn't know that's what they were getting in Anthony Richardson. I definitely think he deserves some time. He deserves a much better situation than what they have going on in Indy. And I think that they are just kind of inept over there between the ownership and the front office. I don't think they know what direction they want to take that team. So I think he's done in Indy. But I could also see a scenario where Indianapolis, just rolls him out for week 1 next year if Flacco decides to retire. I think the best situation for him to begin with was to sit behind a guy like Flacco for a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
and kind of pick up what he's picking up now. But there are certain things that he did this year that really do make you scratch your head. And, taking himself out of the game because he was tired. I'm not a pro athlete.
You got to come up with a better excuse.
But
though.
you gotta come up with something better than that, bro. I mean, what are your teammates going to think of that? That's what I think is the bigger issue here. And this is what I think is the end of him in Indianapolis. Like,
or do you think they just
what are
respect
the
his
veterans,
honesty,
what
though?
are the defensive linemen, the guys who are playing 65, 70 snaps a game and have been doing it for 12 years? Like, what do they think about it when they hear that? I took myself out of the game because I ran around a lot. I mean, he did run around a lot, and he got back in the game. But it's just, I think there is a little bit of immaturity with Anthony Richardson in some regards. I do think he has a positive mindset and approach to the game. At least that's what they report, right? He shows up ready to work in the film room at 4 a.m. every day and all that shit. But
it's great. I'm glad you're making a lot of money and you're showing up for your job.
But I think some of the practical decisions and the leadership ability, I just don't think he's there yet. I don't think he has enough experience. I think he's too raw of a player. And I think Indy kind of isn't going to admit that they screwed that up for him, but they definitely did.
Yeah, I see them not moving on. I see Joe Flacco probably.
Think he comes back?
I think it depends if Indianapolis. I guess it depends on how they kind of finish the year out too. How Joe Flacco's feeling.
Right.
I mean, they should have a veteran in there and let Richardson maybe sit one more year, but I don't think he's done with the Colts. I think that division.
I'd like to see them figure it out because they have been a team that for the last 5 years, seemingly, they've just needed a quarterback. Like, they've been right there. They just need a consistent quarterback.
Jonathan Taylor's a great running back.
Yeah, just paid him.
Yeah, they got Dobbs. They got Pittman Jr. when he's healthy. I mean, they got an offensive core. I'm not saying that the wide receivers are Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but
they have a team that a good enough quarterback can win with.
Correct, and that's why I think Joe Flacco at 62 years old, he doesn't. He looks like he can keep playing.
Yeah,
but he's serviceable with the weapons that they have. We thought the same thing with the Bucs, man. If you could just get someone beside Jameis. And obviously we got Tom Brady. I mean, look at Baker. He's got weapons, and
he's got the worst defense in the NFL.
Exactly, but hopefully our coach can fix that. AFC West. I mean, the Chiefs right now looks like they're gonna walk away with the AFC West. The Chargers are playing a lot better. Herbert's playing a lot better. I mean, it looks like Harbaugh's kind of getting his system in place. The Denver Broncos and your boy, your favorite coach of all time. They lost 2 in a row. I think they have a lot of improvement there. I think they're going to be a real tough team to battle the rest of the year. I think it's going to be a hard picking against them.
Yeah, when you got a coach that can do that, they're always going to have a chance at a matchup. I think he's just good at getting the most out of his players.
Yeah, I believe that. And the Raiders, you might as well just chalk this one up. And even though I brought up the scenario of,
Dak?
No. Well, yeah, Dak and Shador goes to Dallas and then Deion signs on there. I still, for some reason, Deion said he'll never coach in the NFL, but I feel like with the NIL, it's just college football is totally different. Jerry Jones is out of his fucking mind. He thinks it's the 90s. He sees Deion Sanders, probably thinks he's going to fucking play as a coach.
I bet Jerry makes a pitch and Deion says no, and that's where the story ends. That's my guess.
Well, I mean, I could see where the Raiders, especially if the Raiders come out and they're like, hey, we want to get, let's say they get the number 1 pick, who knows, or whatever, and we want to get Shador or whatever, and Deion's like, no, to Davis. And then, Jerry Jones makes that deal with Deion. Next thing you know, he throws the whole entire, 6 years and for the draft. Next thing you know, the Cowboys move up and it's Shador and Deion over in Dallas and Dak Prescott's included and he's at the Raiders now. I mean, Dak Prescott's not a horrible quarterback.
No, he's not. He's okay. He's okay. He can help the Raiders win a couple more games a year, and then choke in the postseason.
And I'm not saying that I'm slobbing on Shador or Deion. I'm just saying Jerry Jones thinks it's the 90s and thinks that Deion Sanders, like I said, will be a player coach probably, and pay him out of this world because he needs a winner.
Yeah,
I mean I think Mike McCarthy's done.
I'd love to see, while we are talking about the NFC East, I think Dallas is going to be much different next year. They move on from McCarthy. It's a tough look to move on from a quarterback after a season-ending injury. I mean, the Vikings did it with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
But, with Dak kind of being the franchise guy over there for a little while, I don't know. It feels weird, but I definitely think they make some massive changes here. The NFC East, I would like Washington to win it. I would like Washington to really go on a run this year. I think that a lot of things are happening in their favor this year. That Hail Mary against the Bears there, stuff like that just makes you feel like anything is possible with this team. And I know that would be fucking insane.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that once the playoffs come, if they make the postseason, Jaden Daniels is going to look like a rookie quarterback at some point, but I would love to see them win that division. They play Philly this week. So both of them are 2-0 in the division, so that will decide who has it for at least the next couple of weeks. The NFC North, I know we already talked about, but I still think the Lions are going to be the strongest team by the end of the year. We're already seeing the cracks in Minnesota. You're seeing the inconsistencies. They have won 2 in a row, but I don't know. Something feels like down the stretch it's going to have to give here, and I think the Lions are going to be better. They were one of my Super Bowl picks at the beginning of the year, and I think they still are now. And then, Lummy, the NFC South here, we kind of talked about it with Jay from New Orleans earlier, but wanted to get your thoughts on the Bucs, because I think that even if they go 6-1 or 5-2, it's going to be a fight to make the postseason. I don't love their chances at the division, but I do think Atlanta, having a reputation for collapsing down the stretch for over a decade now, I think that definitely plays into their favor. I'd love to see them make the postseason, but they make the postseason, then you got Todd Bowles back for another year, and do you want that?
I don't mind Todd Bowles. I don't mind Todd Bowles at all. I think I like our offense coordinator. I like how Todd Bowles kind of lets him, run his thing. I think the locker room likes Todd Bowles. I think the team likes Todd Bowles, and I don't mind that. I would like to see us get in the playoffs because I feel like just from watching this team and being, you got to think the Bucs we played them at the right time. I mean, the Bucs did hand the Lions their first loss of the year.
Their only loss of the year.
And, they completely shit the bed against the Ravens. But they played the Chiefs tough. We played the 49ers tough. And, I think them getting some guys healthy back, down the stretch, rest of the schedule is pretty good for the Bucs, and I think if they can get into the postseason, I think they'll be on like a 3-4 game winning streak. Baker's confident. We'll have Evans back at that point. I think Baker and Kate Otton are they're already kind of flowing. That's another weapon that we didn't really, put as a big time weapon. But Kate Otton's really stepped up. I think they could be a team that you kind of watch out for. I still think it's probably going to be between the Lions and the Eagles. Possibly the Commanders, but luckily for the Bucs, they beat them early on.
I think Sirianni's a fraud. I know Philly fans who think Sirianni's a fraud, and they don't trust him. I don't want to see Sirianni be a head coach to win a Super Bowl. Maybe I'm just a professional hater. So be it. Classify me as such. But I think down the stretch, that's part of my argument for wanting to see Washington win that division and ultimately get ahead of the Eagles there. But you want to dive into these game picks, my friend?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you this too.
I think the defense is going to consistently hold back the Bucs throughout the rest of the year. I like a lot of the points that you made as well. Just to wrap up what you had said about Tampa, I think that they are going to go on a nice little run here. They are going to win some games. They are going to be anchored by their number 3 offense in the NFL and one of the best quarterbacks so far this season. I like Baker Mayfield. He's easy to root for. I like this offense. I like Liam Cohen. I don't even mind Todd Bowles. I'm not ready to fire him yet because injuries matter. Injuries happen, and we were talking about it earlier with USF. But I do think this offense is going to continue to be the weak link, and that's going to be the difference in the postseason if they make it. You know, you're going to see a good Lions team that you have seen before and beat before, and your defense isn't going to have any answers for them because Jared Goff is going to do whatever the fuck he wants. That's just how it feels like it would play out to me. But let's hope that things are a little more positive.
I was going to say, who's your right now mid-season? Who if you had to lay $1,000 down on it, who you taking? Who's your MVP?
If I had to lay $1,000, it would be Lamar. But if I had to make the logical argument, it would be Baker Mayfield, because the definition of most valuable player is if you take that player off of that team, how much worse do they get? Derrick Henry is top 5 in MVP voting, I'm sure, for a running back. So if you take Lamar Jackson out of that offense right now, I don't know who their backup is off the top of my head, but how much worse do the Ravens get without Lamar for 1 or 2 games or 3 games?
Yeah, they're bad. They're pretty bad.
Baker Mayfield leads the NFL in passing touchdown or in touchdowns with 25 total 25 touchdowns this year. I think his career best is 28, so he's on pace to crush that. Or 29, I think is his career best.
You're forgetting something. We got Kyle Trask, baby.
Oh, right. But if Baker Mayfield goes down, how do we feel about the Bucs going on a run throughout the rest of the year? Like, how do we feel about this offense being in the situation that it is with Kyle Trask, especially with no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin on offense?
5-2 and 6-1,
right?
Oh, they're easy 7-0.
Yeah.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're probably 3-4, 2-5.
Yeah, I think Baker should be MVP, but I think it will be Lamar. Especially because the NFL really, really, really likes to build up and cater to these guys that make them a lot of money with sponsors. And Lamar is a guy that once he wins back-to-back MVP, he'll be a 3-time MVP in this league. He'll be one of the best ever. Yeah,
and we got to see what the Bucs do too. So hit the like button while you're hanging out, because if the Bucs don't make the playoffs, then it really doesn't matter. He definitely won't make. They're not going to pick an MVP of a team that didn't make the playoffs.
The Bucs have never had an MVP ever.
No, I know.
In franchise history. The closest we were
was Tom Brady.
Was Tom Brady in 2021 when he led the NFL in pass percentage, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. But they gave it to your boy. Yeah, are you getting up and leaving? You ready to go? I'm ready. We can skip the picks if you want. I mean, fuck it.
Off.
I mean, we don't have our total record for the year.
We're waiting for people to hit the thumbs up.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
No, we'll shoot right down them. People like Berto Perez, Mario Gonzalez, Grouper website. They die for our picks right now. They probably have lost so much money not hearing our picks that they're waiting for this.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with the Commanders, Eagles in Philly.
You have a pen?
Yeah, no. Yeah, should be a pen down there.
No, sir.
I'm not going to give you one of Bubba's pens.
Well,
look next to you.
What if I give it back to you?
No.
Okay, well then I guess we might not be doing picks this week.
Oh no, but I can't touch Bubba's pen. You saw what Seth did.
Does he have more than one?
No.
Yeah, I saw what Seth did. I'm not going to fucking chew it up and then leave it sitting there with the cap off. I'm going to use it to write our picks and then give it back to you when the show's over.
Yeah, is my pen really not down there?
No, I found it. It was a couple desks over.
Oh, that's it? How the fuck did a couple desks over?
Your blue 6-1 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I had to get out of the chair and I couldn't actively
No one was here, though. How did it get the fuck over there?
You tell me, buddy. Are we haunted? Is it week 11?
Yeah, it's depressing. Yeah. 6 games left. Oh, boy. Washington at Philly. Philly's on a 5-game losing streak. We'll both do these pretty quick. I think Washington's going to win. I'm going Washington.
Yeah?
3.5 point spread. Underdog. I'm going Washington.
I will also go Washington, just to fit the narrative of what I've been spewing so far on the show. I really like the Commanders this year. And, I think they win this game. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a close game. I know I feel bad for our buddy Brian from Philly. He may not like to hear it. I mean, he's a bird hater too, so fuck it. Let's all pile on. Washington going to win this one.
That's right. Jacksonville at Detroit. 14-point spread. Ouch for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think the question is Detroit going to cover?
I don't know, Coach. Did we cover? Okay. I got Detroit. Yep.
See, he's straight business. He doesn't mess with that nonsense. He's not worried. He's not worried about spreads.
There's
and all that
people in the
shit.
chat that just love it. Jerkism, right? You can't speak Lions football in your own voice. Bring out Dan. Well, Coach is too busy jerking off, I guess.
We don't cater to the bettors. We're here to win games. We're not here to win fucking bets.
Packers at Chicago. 6-point spread. The Bears just completely took a shit last week. Packers. I'm going Packers.
Yeah?
Go Pack Go. Where are you going?
Go, Pack, go!
Green Bay's already got one win over Chicago for the year.
Yes.
I'll go Green Bay. I wanted to go Chicago.
Way to go on the
I wanted to
fucking
go
limb
Chicago,
there.
but when you consider like what they've already done to Caleb Williams so far this season, I think the Bears have so many issues that need to be fixed that go beyond just the guy they picked in the draft. Like I think the Bears are they're just the Bears.
They are.
They're just the Bears.
Well, listen, we got an ass bucket of a game right here. Cleveland Browns versus New Orleans Saints. I'm going New Orleans Saints.
I am also going New
I'm
Orleans
fucking
Saints.
Picking Jameis Winston. No way. Rams at Patriots. Jesus, there's some really good games and some really shit games. I'm going Rams. Kyrie Williams, Matthew Stafford, Pikachu, and Cooper Kupp. I'm going Rams.
I'm also going Rams here. They're getting hot at the right time. They're kind of on a roll. And, I think they win this week. Get a little win streak going for themselves.
Baltimore at the Steelers. Going to be a hell of a game. Fuck. I don't even think it's an upset, but I'm going Pittsburgh.
All right. I think it will be Baltimore, but there is a chance Pittsburgh pulls this one out. This would be this would be an even more definitive win than their win against Washington.
This is in Pittsburgh too, so let's go Steelers. Spin that towel. Vikings at the Titans. Titans have definitely struggled all year this year. Vikings are just, they got Sam Darnold. I'm going Minnesota.
Yeah. Tennessee is in free fall. They're having one of those seasons. So give me the Vikings all the way.
Fantastic. Raiders at the Dolphins. 7.5 points. Wow.
I guess Miami.
Yeah, Dolphins. Tua, man. He goes 5-6 yards down the field, and they'll limp in there. Maybe Tyreek can have a breakout game. Tyreek has not had really a breakout game this year, so hopefully him and Waddle can figure something out and get it going. Colts at the Jets. Former Jets quarterback Joe Flacco. Going against Aaron Rodgers in New York.
Jets legend Joe Flacco. I got the Jets winning this one.
Damn it, I'm going Jets too. Aaron Rodgers. Go Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers throws 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Everyone sees the true Aaron Rodgers is back. Seattle at the 49ers. 6.5 point spread. San Fran played pretty tight.
San Fran's been inconsistent this year,
They
and
sure
part
have been.
of me wants to give the benefit of the doubt to Geno Smith. But when you consider this division and the way things are going, I think this is one of those games that'll help decide that division, and so San Francisco takes a tough one here.
Christian McCaffrey is back for his second game. I think they get him back in line. I think they need to use Mason and McCaffrey. I'm going San Fran too.
Alrighty.
Atlanta at Denver. Oof.
Give me the Broncos. I will take the Broncos. Let's ride. Broncos country. Woo!
I don't want to pick the Falcons, but
You want to stifle me? Is that what it is?
but I'm going Denver. Denver's just too good. Bo Nix probably one of the best quarterbacks out there. Go Denver. I just can't. I can't pick against. Can't pick against my third favorite team, the Denver Broncos.
Bronco Rick.
Kansas City at Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins. I think Buffalo takes away that Chiefs victory unless the refs decide they're going to find some weird holding calls. But I think Buffalo. I think the Chiefs got close enough to lose last week. I think the Chiefs need to lose, kind of come back down to ground, but I'm going Bills.
I agree with you. I think as long as those Nazis in the striped pajamas don't do anything to give Kansas City another win here, I think it feels right for Buffalo to get this win. And consider it a pity pick for shitting on them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Grouper Lips can be jerking off right now and us picking the Denver for him. I mean, I'm sure he's excited. Cincinnati at the Chargers. I like this. Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert.
Couple of hungry teams.
Yeah. I'm going Cincinnati. I know they're going to go out to LA. I think they got it. I think Cincinnati, they're ready to turn that corner.
Yeah, I also got a feeling about Cincinnati this week. I think really here in the middle of the season, they're going to be on an absolute tear. Division games are going to be tough, but they're going to be trying their best to win some games. They know what's at stake. Next game they lose, they're basically out of it.
Wow. What a Monday nighter. Texans versus the Cowboys. Wait, did they fucks out of that game? Wait. No, this can't. Is that really the Monday night game?
You might be right. Houston at Dallas.
Oh.
I don't have Dallas. Or I have Dallas or Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Sorry.
Yeah, Houston at Dallas. That's a Monday night game.
Gross. Give me Houston.
Houston.
Yep.
I need to pick my upset.
Fuck the Cowboys. Fuck Jerry Jones.
What a shit fucking Monday night game.
Yeah. Thanks, Jerry. Deep pockets.
Yeah, keep living in the 90s, Jerry. Keep living in the 90s. Thank you, Rhett.
Thank you, Lummy. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. I know that you have a lot of selections here on the Bubba Radio Network, and if you enjoy any part of our sports show or our weekly wrap-up show, thank you so much. We are grateful to have you listening, and sorry we were gone for so long.
Hit the thumbs up on the way out, and also while you're hitting the thumbs up, go check out the other videos. Go check out our podcasts that are all up. Go to Bubba Army Store, Bubba Army Shop, BubbaArmyMerch.com. Check out all the great merchandise there. Also, for listening to past shows, if you just want to hear some stuff from the series, some, Cox Days, a little bit of 98 Rock Days, go to BubbaArmyHQ.com, sign up. It will only keep getting better.
New app is literally right around the corner. I know that for the last 3 months, it's been about 2 weeks away. But, I mean, can we officially say under 2 weeks now?
I'm not saying. I'm done even predicting when.
Yeah, I think the only. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the only official information we can give you is that they switched encoders to accommodate for the new app.
Yeah, but it's out of our hands now.
And that is why Bubba Army HQ, the old Bubba Army app, and now the TuneIn feed are continuing to have problems throughout today and yesterday because they have updated the encoders without telling us they were updating the encoders.
We have said too much.
Yeah, probably.
You know what? But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up, the like button on the way out, and we will be back here 6 a.m. The Bubba the Love Sponge Show. We will see you tomorrow.